36 cards that have been laid down in what is like the most intense spread by the Lenormand deck. All right, it's called the Grand Tableau. So you put down the entire deck and can answer a person like, about his money, about his children, about his finances, about his career, all at one go. When you want to attack sort of all at one go, this is the spread to use. All right, so we can go to the next slide. This is just an idea of what the whole set might look like. And very soon, of course, Neelu, you will see my very own deck.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Super excited. Looking forward to. In fact, Aarti, Zennobiia, this is the first time Aarti's even heard of this modality. Aarti, you're in for a treat. I hope you're here and you're going to be here all throughout. Sorry, continue.
No, what Aarti says is right, Neelu. Very often, this is not something that, like tarot, 10 people will say, oh, tarot cards. Right. But Lenormand, not that many people know about. So my whole thing is about more people knowing about the Lenormand. Yeah. Right. This, of course, is the inspiration, because people wonder where, what are the roots of this particular deck. This is the lady, a very famous fortune teller of her times. She lived in France, Mary Anne Lenormand. The dates have been given. She lived between 72 and 1843. And when she moved on, she sort of this is interesting. She left behind a huge fortune, which her nephew happily accepted. And she left behind her cards, which were almost destroyed, so much as to say. Because people used to believe at that time, Neelu, that, these are jugglers. There's a certain amount of witchery involved when somebody does something like this. You understand? Right. So that didn't go down. But of course, the money he was happy to receive. So several years later, almost to cash in on her fame as a fortune teller, is when these cards were sort of taken up and released. First, as what was known as the game of hope. And we'll see it just right now on the next slide. Yeah. Of course, yes. This is where she was buried. It's a very famous cemetery in France where she's buried. If you go close and see, you'll see Mademoiselle Lenormand being mentioned there.
Yes.
Yeah. And 1 second, Neelu, is the sound coming from my earphones? I'm just going to try a moment without my earphones. Maybe that might help. 1 second.
You're loud and clear.
I'm loud and clear now?
Absolutely, crisp.
Oh, perfect. All right. And no background sound coming through.
No echoes. No echoes.
Lovely. Then perfect. Let me know if there is. So here's the tomb where she was, of course, buried. And it's almost like a mausoleum. People will go pay tribute to her spirit and lay flowers for her. In fact, it was restored. Her grave, her cemetery was restored because people thought, she's such a fabulous fortune teller. Let's pay her respect. In fact, I hope to go there soon, someday, and do the same. It would be quite a tribute to Madame Lenormand.
I'm sure it will. And in fact, Vikram loves France and he's happy to know that this is where it originated.
How lovely.
From.
Yes, very much so. In fact, just to give it context, she was around at the times of Napoleon. All right. And she would read for the Lady Josephine. And she had said that several of them, she'd say who'd go to the guillotine next. And very often they were fearful of her because invariably her prophecies would come true.
Right.
That is it about Madame Lenormand, yes.
Okay.
That we can go to the next one.
Yeah, I'm just, okay, not other.
Okay. So this I've just put down a few pointers. Exactly what I told you is these are little 36 cards, each with a lucid image and a playing card insert. Playing card insert means regular playing cards. So for example, you could have a King of Hearts on a card. You could have a Queen of Diamonds on a card. And only if you're really wanting to know, just know that because they're 36, we can't fit the 52 cards on. So what will we be missing? The 2s, the 3s, the 4s, and the 5s will be missing in the Lenormand. This is just technical information. And yes, one of the simplest decks literally for people looking to embark on a journey of card reading. ठीक है, अब जाते हैं. Who can learn this deck? And I genuinely am not saying this, Neelu. We'll prove this in just a little while. When we go forward and do a little activity with somebody who knows nothing about the cards, you'll see that I haven't just said this. This is a fact. there is potential to be a card reader within each and every human being, I've realized. There is no special kind. So I can't, sort of sit on a high horse and say, oh, well, you come specially equipped to read cards. No, that's not it. Anyone who's keen, has an open heart, open mind, wants to help others, I think it really works wonders. You can do it with great ease then. Yes, and we can go to the next one. Okay, this is important to know because, I'm sure that there may be some tarot readers also who are listening in perhaps and would like to know how it differs. Now, see, I'm not the best one on this because I don't work with the tarot, but what I've heard from people also who do the tarot and the Lenormand is, it's a simple deck to carry around, okay? Dusra, it gives a very sort of crisp narrative, and here it's not like reading into, it's very matter of fact. So like I've given this little example here about the bouquet card. Now you could see 12 different kinds of bouquets on 12 different decks, but it will always mean a gift. So do you realize when one of the keywords is a gift for the bouquet, so your life becomes so much simpler, all right? And whereas tarot is, of course, so for example, the ship has stormy waters around it. They say, okay, well, your journey's begun, but there's storms around it. Whereas in the Lenormand, the ship is just about journeying, about voyage, a travel, a vehicle, you see? So it's very, very clear cut, the Lenormand, very direct. Okay, yeah, all right. Here I'd like to add Neelu. Definitely, I've named one or two decks that I would give out earlier. When you take my course, I do send out what is called the Under the Roses because it has the pips and everything on it. Pips is basically the technical term that we use for playing card inserts, all right? So if you see like a 9 of spades, it's 9 pips on that one, like that, just so that people understand. So Bluebird, Under the Roses, and Zennobia's upcoming deck is what we should be looking at to learn.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I completely forgot to mention it. Zennobiia is actually making her own deck, and I think possibly this is one of the first ones to originate like from India.
Zennobiia? Yes, right. Because I have never heard of any such deck having come out of India. I was researching, Neelu.
Right.
And I couldn't I would just see the ones which we work with all the time. They come essentially from a US company, yeah.
Right. So people, you are actually, all of us are going to be so privileged to see a glimpse of this deck for the first time.
Yeah, first time.
Today.
First time ever, literally, yeah?
Literally, yes.
All right. So, Neelu, here we have 2 cards, all right? Why I put up these 2 cards is because you can't read Lenormand as single cards. Just understand, this is like a prerequisite rule. So there are lots of people who sort of remove a card for a daily guidance, so much as to speak. In our case, you must receive or remove at least 2 cards, all right? Beyond that, of course, is your call. So now, Neelu, for example, you're here, and I'm telling you that the first card is about, say, some kind of news. It's the card of the rider, all right? So when you look at the cross coming in after, tell me, do you feel this is going to be light or heavy news coming in?
Probably going to be news that might not be all that great.
So can I use the word intense?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, something intense. Could be some news related to spiritual matters. But of course, when I say intense, because cross is associated with karmic burden, okay, in the Lenormand. So it's the second card, remember, that acts as your modifying card and tells you a little bit more about your first card, always. So first is the noun, second is the adjective. You could go with a very simple explanation.
And in fact, you know what, Shitu was asked, can I have a general reading to see how you do work with this deck? Here, you've just gotten a small glimpse of it. Shitu, hang in there. You're going to get to know a lot more.
You'll get to know a lot more. Yeah, absolutely.
So in fact, I'm so glad you put these questions up because I'm sure these are questions that come up all the time. And can we predict the future? This is the thing that everybody asks, be it, for any modality, be it for astrology, be it for tarot. And
yes.
Does that happen here as well?
Okay, so I'll tell you what my take on this is. All right, different people will say different things. I clearly like to say, like it's one of the taglines I gave Mystic Lotus. I said, why predict the future when you can invent it? Yeah. And I really believe that. And the cards will help you, guide you towards inventing that future. All right. So it's not about predictions, but it's more about guidance. This is across the board. Like I've asked people who work in tarot, and a lot of times, so they might say we predict, but classically what they're looking to provide you with is guidance. All right. So for example, simple thing, is it a good time to look for a home in, say, the first 6 months of the next year? So they'll tell you whether that'll be futile or you should go ahead and do exactly that. Right?
Right. And people, you will get to experience this, exactly this, the guidance part of it in a short bit. In fact, interestingly, Zennobiia Brijbala has written it. Yes. And this is where it gets interesting. I don't know if Brijbala knows, I'm guessing not. She's written the person may be crucified with questions.
Oh, wow.
Just looking at the cards when you asked me also. So she put that in. What I find interesting here, Brijbala, let us know if you've ever heard of Lenormand before, that just looking at the cards, she has come up, she's had a thought about something, right? And
okay, I'm just thinking, I hope that's not me on the Telegram group after the session ends.
Oh, you never know, you never know.
That may well be the case, Nidya.
Brijbala, you hit the nail on the head.
And that there you go. That's crispness for you coming from the Lenormand. That's how crisp it gets.
And I just realized, you did make the right connection. Maybe these cards came up for the presentation because actually this is what's going to happen after the call.
See, this is what it is.
Right.
This is what it is. One student was telling me, in fact, she'll come on in a little while if she's around, Diksha. She was saying that very often I sit with the cards to query the cards for somebody else. All right. But if my mind is laden with a question, invariably after I've done the reading for that person, I'll see there's some guidance in it for me also. It's very uncanny. But yes, exactly the way they work.
Right. And here we have a card that you're explaining.
This is the first card, and I've specially chosen one here without the tag. It doesn't have the rider written below. But I'd say to people who are looking to learn for the very first time, go with a deck where the cards are labeled. It makes life that much simpler. A lot of them are very obvious, like the cross is always the cross, the rider is all. But there are some cards it's nice to see labels on in the beginning. It just makes it easier to work with. And this, where it says playing card insert with 9 pips is what I already spoke about. And I told you about it, that you'll see, like, for example, you're seeing 9 hearts. So we refer to those as being 9 pips on this card. Yeah, that's how the Lenormand will be. Now, in some decks will only have 9 and a heart beside it, because I somehow feel that takes away less from the card and its imagery. It's not distracting. I feel this one is a little distracting sometimes, but of course everybody can have their own take on that.
And okay. You're obviously going to just quickly let us know what the rider kind of means, and I have a question which I want to ask you after that.
Okay, so see, this is good you asked, Neelu. This is like part of my learning presentation. So when you choose, like, say, the basic or the advanced or whatever with me, this is how you'll go through the 36 cards at first go. Okay, so what is the rider? It's about activity, energy, passion, speech, messages, packages. Yeah, that's all the keywords that could be used on the rider. It could be a message, it could be a person, or it could be a transitory event. Like it could also be referring to the Mystic Lotus Telesummit. All right. Like, for example, let's go back to the earlier 2 cards where we saw the rider and the cross. That's very typically, what is it? It's the Telesummit and the cross meaning spirituality. So you see how sort of it can fit in. There you go. There you have the imagery of the rider. So the movement is the Telesummit. And what kind of movement are we looking at? Something with spiritual messaging for people. Something that will sort of lift the bar on their faith.
Right.
That's it. That's how these cards work. 2 at a time, always 2 at a time. Okay, not one singular card. Then there's a health context to each card. There's timing to each card. Oh, great. Thank you for this. This is important, Neelu. Thank you. So, of course, everything else one could just read through. It becomes boring to sort of get into what the clover is. But yes, essentially, it's good luck, it's gaiety, lightheartedness, opportunities. All right. But just for a moment, glance at the two cards that I've put in. All right. Now, when you look at a card, you're supposed to pick up on a single image in the Lenormand. So, okay, right side, I pick up clover. Great. I know it's good luck. But just for a moment, glance at the left, Neelu, and tell me what's happening there. There's too much going on.
Yeah, and also I think I missed the color, so I'm really not sure what it's supposed to represent to me, apart from it being, a clover,
Yes,
is four-leaved. But there's arches in the background. There
there's
are two
arches.
faces in, and then below
There's something that looks like a pine cone and some
and
coins.
then pebbles or coins. Yeah. So there's now I'm thinking, is it just one meaning, or are there like 6 meanings running on this?
Exactly. And that can be very chaotic when you begin your journey, very
Right.
chaotic. Because I just want you to know good luck when you see the clover or an opportunity. I don't want you to be straining your eyes to see this woman and this man and their sort of rather horrific expressions, as it were. All right. So anyway, this is not a great representation on a Lenormand card. Yeah. That's the point I was trying to make. That's all.
Right. The simpler the deck that you pick up at the beginning, the better it is for you.
Yes. And then if you come from the world of tarot or something like that, you will naturally veer towards other decks where there is, a lot going on. But if you're looking to sort of be good at Lenormand, go for a simple deck where the images are very simplistic.
Right. Awesome.
Okay, that's
nice. Oh, in there, that's one of the cards from your deck.
Yes, that was a little slip-in that we had to make, to rouse into.
Okay, so tell us a little about this card completely, especially since it's now, part of the deck, a part of your deck. So tell us completely what the ship is all about, because a lot of people might not be seeing their screens if they're on their phone.
Okay, so the ship basically is about foreigners. It's about people traveling to and fro from foreign countries. A ship, in the olden days, there was no car, no train, right? So the ship is, even in today's time, symbolic all kinds of vehicles. So if I want to see whether I'm going to sort of have or buy a new car in the upcoming year, all I need to do is go to the ship and see what comes after it. And hopefully if there's something like the bouquet, for example, yes, somebody
might just be gifted.
There you go. It's as simple as that. There you go. Yes. We're hoping, looking at a gift from hubby dear, perhaps. Yes. So all of this, the ship is all of these things. But I have seen it's very often also Pilgrim's Progress. Yeah. When things you're transitioning things in life, things are changing for you. That's also the time when the card of the ship will come up. All right.
Right. So it also depends on the question that you ask, right?
Okay.
And how it ends up representing that?
Yes. So see, it's all very important because everything is about the question, Neelu. So it's when I will say, okay, so am I getting, say, a new car in the first half of 22, or should I even look or, work towards it? That's when you'll see the ship and what follows thereafter. Right. Without the right kind of question, you could be a little sort of derailed from the right answer. Yes, that is a possibility.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Again, Brijbala has written in. She's seen this, and she's saying emotional ride, emotional journey, because the moon is there.
Okay. So just this, I appreciate what she's saying, but you could sort of not work with the moon at all because it's a Lenormand deck. This is just, what do you call it? This is the creative aspect, which I left to the creative artist. So you would not necessary to go down the emotions by the Lenormand deck.